In the heart of Abuja worked Vera, a 40-year-old banker admired by everyone. She was chubby, elegant, and beautiful, the kind of woman whose laughter warmed even the coldest day. Despite her beauty, she was unmarried, yet she carried herself with grace. Her colleagues adored her, customers often requested her service. To many, Vera was strength and kindness in one body. But deep inside, her heart longed quietly, not for riches, but for genuine love. One bright afternoon, a tall, dark man walked into the bank. His name was Samuel, 42, confident but humble, dressed in a neat suit. He needed help with a transaction, and Vera attended to him with her usual charm. Their eyes met, and in that simple exchange, something began, quiet, unplanned, and powerful. When the transaction was done, Samuel smiled gratefully. "You have a beautiful spirit, Vera," he said. She blushed. They exchanged numbers, and from that moment, a new chapter of her life began without warning. That night, Vera received a text, "Hi Vera, this is Samuel from the bank. Thank you again, you made my day." She smiled at her phone, unaware that this simple message would change her world forever. Within weeks, Samuel became a familiar name on Vera's phone. His messages were polite, caring, and warm. One weekend, he invited her to dinner at a quiet restaurant in Wus. Vera hesitated but agreed. Under the soft glow of candlelight, they talked about life and work. Samuel then grew serious. "Vera, there's something I've never told anyone," he said. "I lived in the UK for 10 years, but I was deported. I sent all my earnings home to my family, but when I came back, everything was gone. They squandered it all." Vera's heart softened. His voice carried pain, regret, and exhaustion. "I'm starting from scratch," he said, smiling faintly. "But you give me hope again." Vera listened, eyes filled with empathy. "Samuel," she said gently, "sometimes losing everything helps us find what truly matters." That night, as he drove her home, Samuel couldn't stop glancing at her through the mirror. To him, she wasn't just kind, she was his way back to life. To Vera, he was a man worth believing in. Neither knew what the future had already written for them. Days became weeks, and Samuel grew closer to Vera. He called every morning and every night, checking on her work, teasing her, making her laugh. On weekends, they met at Joby Lake, their favorite beach. They shared stories, suya, and long hugs under the fading sun. Slowly, Vera's walls began to fall. She had sworn never to love again after being heartbroken years ago, but Samuel's gentleness melted her fears. One evening, as they watched the water, Samuel held her hand and said softly, "Vera, I see my future with you. I want you to be my wife." She laughed shyly, thinking he was joking. But he was serious, or at least, he sounded like it. In that moment, something changed. Vera began to believe in love again, not because Samuel was perfect, but because he made her feel valued. She told her best friend, Jane, everything. Jane smiled and said, "Vera, he's not a boy. He knows what he wants. Maybe this is your time." But destiny, as always, had other plans. Their love blossomed beautifully. Samuel treated Vera like a queen, cooking for her after work, visiting her at the bank, bringing small gifts. Everyone around her noticed her glow. "Vera, this your man has changed your life." "Oh," her friends teased. She only smiled. Samuel's attention was genuine, or so it seemed. Months passed, and Vera finally opened her heart completely. One quiet evening, she told Samuel everything, her secrets, her business, even her family inheritance. "I'm my father's only daughter," she confessed. "He left me some properties and a supermarket. I've never told anyone. I'm just waiting for the right man to share it all with." Samuel held her hand. "Vera, I love you for who you are, not for what you have," he said gently. She believed him, every word. But that night, after leaving her house, Samuel sat alone in his small apartment, mind racing. If I marry her, he thought, everything becomes mine. In that moment, greed drowned the little love he ever had. Samuel's thoughts darkened. He wanted his old life back, the wealth, the comfort, the foreign trips. And now, Vera's inheritance looked like his ticket to that dream. The next day, he bought a ring and proposed to her. "Vera, I promise to be the best husband ever," he said, tears in his eyes. Overwhelmed, she said yes. Before marriage, Vera wanted to help him financially. She handed him the keys to her supermarket and planned to sell one of her lands to fund his import business. Samuel was overjoyed. "You'll never regret this," he said. But at home, his joy turned into restless greed. He wanted more. Weeks passed. Together, they managed the business. Vera trusted him completely, even gave him her ATM pins and phone passwords. To her, he was her future. To him, she was his investment. And in his mind, the plan was nearly ready. One evening, Samuel decided it was time. He made dinner for Vera, her favorite soup. As he cooked, his hands trembled slightly, not from guilt, but fear of being caught. He poured a strange substance into her bowl, stirred it, and served it with a smile. Vera, tired from work, sat and ate, laughing softly. Minutes later, her laughter faded. Her hands shook, eyes rolled back, and she slumped forward, motionless. Samuel's heart pounded. He checked her pulse, faint, almost gone. Panicked, he decided to stage an accident. He carried her to his car, whispering, "Forgive me, Vera. I just want my life back." But that night, fate intervened. The road was dark and quiet. Samuel drove fast toward the expressway, planning to dump Vera's body and make it look like a crash. But that same night, police had set up checkpoints after a robbery in the area. As Samuel approached, a flashlight signaled him to stop. "Good evening, officer," he stammered, voice shaking. "Where are you going this night?" the officer asked. Samuel's voice cracked. I'm just heading home." The officer sensed something off. He flashed his light into the car, and saw Vera's motionless body in the back seat. "Jesus Christ," the officer shouted. "Driver! Step out!" Samuel panicked and tried to run. The officers fired, a bullet struck his leg. He fell, screaming. The police rushed Vera to the hospital immediately. Samuel was arrested on the spot. At the hospital, doctors worked through the night. The poison hadn't fully destroyed Vera's organs. She was weak but alive. Jane was by her side, praying and crying. When Vera finally opened her eyes days later, she whispered, "Where is Samuel?" Jane looked away. "He's been arrested. The police caught him. You're safe now." Tears rolled down Vera's cheeks. She couldn't believe the man she loved had almost killed her. Meanwhile, Samuel sat in a cold cell, head in his hands, crying and shouting her name. "Vera! Please forgive me." But his cries only echoed off the walls, unheard, unanswered. Samuel faced trial, his crimes exposed before the world. His confessions and evidence, the poisoning, the stolen passwords, the greed sealed his fate. The court sentenced him to years in prison. In his cell, Samuel replayed every moment: her smile, her trust, her kindness. He cried daily, begging for forgiveness that would never come. He had gained nothing, and lost everything. Vera recovered slowly, but her heart carried scars deeper than any wound. The betrayal had taught her one truth: sometimes the person who says, "I love you," is the same one sent to test your strength. Months later, a call came. It was Samuel's voice from prison, weak, broken. "Vera, please. I'm sorry. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want to see you once before I die here." After long thought, Vera agreed. When she entered the prison, she saw a shadow of the man she once loved. Thin, limping, eyes filled with regret. He tried to speak, but words failed. Vera looked at him calmly. "I didn't come to forgive you," she said. "I came to see the face of the man who betrayed me, for the last time." She turned and walked away as Samuel broke down in tears, calling her name. Outside, Vera stood under the sun, breathing deeply. The pain was heavy, but she was free. Because sometimes, walking away is the real victory.